Hey guys, Barrett here in the Acoustic and Art Stop department, doing a bit of a comparison video or kind of module today on a couple different used Goodalls we have in stock. We've got a 1987 Rosewood Standard, Sitka spruce top, East Indian rosewood back and sides, and then we've got a 2015 TMHOM or Traditional Mahogany OM. It's got a AAA Adirondack top and mahogany back and sides. So highlighting a few different things, obviously years apart on these, and obviously the models and tone woods are a little different. But I thought it would be instructive to kind of see just how good used gear can be, used guitars in particular. I talked to a lot of folks who have, kind of trepidation about going into a used guitar. There's concerns about the warranty, concerns about the condition, which are worthwhile questions to ask. But when you're dealing with us and with used gear, we hold things to a higher standard. It's already the case that often used instruments will sound more like themselves, more open, more resonant, more kind of settled than a new guitar, any new guitar from any manufacturer will. So that goes both ways. Used pieces are typically going to sound more open and ready to go, and you shouldn't be surprised if your new guitar sounds like it's still kind of sonically immature, needs some time to break in and really become the fully fledged instrument that it's going to become after it's had time reverberating and settling. So practice is a part of that too. But we have a luthier here, Rob Scherer, who personally inspects every instrument that comes in used, and he will do whatever work needs to be done to get that instrument up to the high standards that we have for our new gear. So, things like neck angle, fret wear, even things like cosmetic wear he'll address. So we don't sell things as is. We will take things as they are from you, but everything that we list on the site, used and new to, of course, is going to be ensured to be at that level that we need it to be, and that you need it to be too. So I thought the comparison video, it's worth mentioning that, but really want you to hear two sort of points in the history of one of our favorite manufacturers, Goodall. So this being from 1987, this is from when the Goodall family was still operating out of California before they moved to Hawaii and before they moved back to California where they're currently operating now. And then this, obviously being in 2015, is from their home now in California. So there's a big gap there, and you can sort of hear some of the differences, I think, in what I'm talking about in terms of how far they've come along. This guitar, the Rosewood Standard here, was owned by a player who took care of it, but definitely played it. So there's some cosmetic work that's been done by our luthier. But you're going to hear an instrument that is just incredibly rich and alive. The amount of power and of complexity you hear with something like this. It's just something you can't really get to with a new guitar immediately. It'll take time. Whereas something like this, 2015, you hear a guitar that's on its way to becoming fully resonant and kind of like sort of the end point of what it's going to become. But it's still on the way. So it's opened up some from when it was first made. But for you, the player and the buyer of something like this, you're going to find that there's still bonding to be done with an instrument like this. It's still time for it to open up and to sound even better than it does now. So without further ado, let's get into a little comparison between the 2015 TMHOM and the 1987 Rosewood Standard. Alrighty, so there we have it. A nice comparison between, again, the 1987 Rosewood Standard and the 2015 Traditional Mahogany OM from Goodall. Like I've said, both used pieces, both held to the exacting standards that our luthier works on and that you expect, that we expect. If you want to talk about any of the specific work done to these guitars or to their history, not just these guitars, but any used guitars we have, that's always something that we can talk about and information that we have access to. Again, if you have any used pieces that you want to kind of turn into one of these, we can talk about that too. But I hope I've sort of made the point here that a used piece, rather than being something that should worry you and give you concern for what might be hiding there, with us, it's always going to be a sure bet and something that's had time to open up, but is also at that level that you'd expect for a new guitar. So I hope you've enjoyed. Once again, this is Barrett at Sound Pure. Thanks, and have a great day.